Okay guys, and we continue with Frankenstang. Give you an update where we're at. I've had the quarter panel on and off a couple dozen times already. I think I've got the door pretty much set where I want it. We will have to modify the quarter panel, as I had said in the previous video, but I'll show you where we're at now. This is kind of a perfect example of every time you move something, every time you adjust something, if a car's ever in an accident, things happen, things move around, and if it's not repaired properly, the poor sap like me ends up being the guy that has to fix it all. But what we had here was, I'm going to get close here. You can see this door, it's pretty much closed. We now have a pretty even gap all the way down through here. Well, we didn't have that before. When this car rolled in here, the customer was complaining that the door wouldn't close right. It had a spring to it where it would want to pop back open. And what I found was this bottom corner down here was actually pretty much hitting right against the seal, the weather strip channel, and if we open the door, you can even see this is not supposed to look like this. This is all pushed down because it was hitting the A-pillar. So at some point in the past, when they repaired this car, either from the accident or whatever, they got the door as good as they could, bent this thing down, and called it a day. Well, now that I'm trying to straighten everything out, now I'm fighting this. And here's where we're at. Let me come back over here. I pretty much have the rocker panels set. I'm pretty confident that I might move it back maybe another 1/16 to an 1/8 inch, but for the most part, that rocker panel is set where we want it. What I'm running into here is when we roll the window up, and this is a problem he had before, he also stated that he didn't like the fact that the window never met the seal up at the roof line up there. Well, if we roll the window up, and I've removed the stop in the back, I'm just going to kind of show you here what we have as we roll the window up. Traditionally, the Mustang window stops just below there. If you look inside there, way inside here, you can see the channel down there. Sorry about that, guys. That the glass rides in, and then you have your window felts. The glass usually rides up nice and snug into there. Well, if we close the door, we have the monster of all gaps. And not only that, if you look, it's not even straight. And what I had done was I moved the door back to compensate where we were hitting up here, slightly readjusted the vent window here, and now we have a nice gap. It lines up with the A-pillar. Well, we lost the window. And what we have is glass that just isn't going to line up. Then if we come down here, we can see what's going on. If you look at these slots, these two slots right here, they're not supposed to look like that. It looks like somebody's been in here chewing away on these things. These are supposed to be nice oval slots, and that's to adjust the window in and out. The problem I now have is when I put the stop in the back to get the window to go up higher, I'm overriding the stop. That shows us that there's a problem. And the problem is that this car is way out of whack. I mean, that's obvious there. But the damage, and the camera won't pick it up. But if you sight down the line, I'm going to try to get an angle here. I don't know if you guys can pick that up, but there's a curve. That roof is curving like that. This car had been hit hard enough to roll the rocker panel into the seat pan. I'm sure it wasted the door. This door is from a different car, and it actually pushed the roof in. I don't have my straight edge with me, my 4-foot straight edge, but if I was to put a straight edge along here, you would see a huge gap in the middle that we don't have on the other side. So now I have to figure out how we're going to fix this gentleman's window. How are we going to get that window? And you can see the front is nowhere near where we want it to be. So we have a combination of a lot of things going on here. And the reason I'm showing you this in this video is this is a perfect example, again on this car, of the proverbial can of worms. And now I'm spending hour upon hour trying to adjust this door glass to fit this car. And in the end, I still may have to modify this door. Like I said, those two little slots right there that somebody already messed up, I may have to get in there and modify them a little more just to get this to work. Not every customer has a bottomless wallet. And this guy doesn't. I understand it. So we have to try to fix this as economically as possible, but it also has to be safe and sound. This was not safe and sound. When the car leaves here, it will be safe. Everything will be welded, everything will be right. So again, back to what I was saying before, cause and effect. Well, if you looked at my previous video, you saw we had a problem with the quarter panel. I still have to remove material off the front here to get the gap we want. And as you Mustang guys know, back here is where we also have a problem on these Mustang quarter panels. If the camera can pick it up, you can clearly see how much the quarter extension varies to the quarter panel, actually the other way around. The quarter panel does not match the quarter panel extension, and this is an original Ford piece. So we know we need to make this quarter panel match that piece. And what I'm probably going to have to do is drill out all these spot welds, readjust this outer piece on this back piece to get this to where we have as little filler as possible. There's a lot of shops out there that will just take this and load this up with filler. Oh, they'd blend filler all the way back to probably here just to hide that. Well, we have a brand new panel. Why are we going to take this panel and mess it up with body filler? We don't do that here. So anyway, we're going to keep on plugging away. I'm going to see how many hours I get in adjusting this glass. Hopefully we can get it to fit at least well enough that it will seal. As I'd mentioned before, he didn't like the seal. It didn't really match. I really can't pick the door up, because then to pick the door up, we have to pick the rocker panel up, and then it moves the quarter panel up, which then in turn moves everything up back here. So again, cause and effect, guys. If you're doing this work yourself, you really have to take your time. This is why it is so expensive to do restoration on older cars, especially cars that have been rusted and repaired, damaged and repaired incorrectly. And then they come in here to get fixed the right way, and now I have to deal with this mess. But we're going to make it right. So stay tuned, guys.